Welcome to Module 20, Nationalism and Sectionalism in Antebellum America. In this module, we will examine the economic and political developments which led to the election of Andrew Jackson in 1828. In the first 3 decades of the 19th century, Americans debated the role of slavery in determining political power, the place for a national bank in the United States, and the role the U.S. should play in the Western Hemisphere. In the 1820s, 2 opposing political parties developed, the Democrats and the Whigs. Jackson was a Democrat whose ideology was based on an understanding of liberty as a set of private rights best secured by local governments and endangered by a powerful national authority. Throughout Jackson's presidency, the relationship between the states and the federal government was tested through events like the nullification crisis, where South Carolina declared that a state could nullify any federal statute it considered unconstitutional, and the Panic of 1837, an economic crisis which hinged on the Bank of the United States' ability to regulate the activities of state banks. We'll spend most of our module on Indian removal, which was also tied to tensions between the states and the federal government. After southern states like Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi passed laws extending their legal authority into native nations, in violation of claims based on the Constitution, which gave the federal government exclusive jurisdiction over native affairs, Jackson and his predecessor John Quincy Adams stepped aside and let the states exert power over tribes, despite treaty provisions which obligated the United States to defend tribes from encroachment. In 1830, Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, which authorized the president to enter into negotiations with eastern tribes to sign removal treaties, stipulating an exchange of their land in the east for land in the west. Native nations like the Cherokees, Creeks, Choctaws, Chickasaws, and Seminoles actively resisted removal. Native people petitioned tribal governments, urging them not to sign removal treaties. They took to the courts to safeguard their rights against the encroachment of southern states. Although there were significant legal victories, ultimately they were unsuccessful. Removal began in 1831, and by 1840, the Office of Indian Affairs computed that more than 100,000 Eastern natives had been removed to the west. We'll discuss the harsh experiences of removal, including the most well-known example, the Cherokees' Trail of Tears. In the required readings for this module, you'll read an account of Cherokee resistance to removal, an excerpt from the Monroe Doctrine, the document which conceptualized American foreign policy and position in the Western Hemisphere, and a JSTOR Daily article which situates Jackson in the larger debates between the federal government and the states. Looking forward to hearing what you think. Good luck with Module 20.